mind. It is that part of you that threatens you, that part of you that convinces you you're not going to make it past tomorrow, that part of you that says, well, everything's okay now, but what are you going to do if, and what are you going to say when you meet so-and-so next week, and all of this stuff that keeps you rattling and shaking and all of those things within you going nuts. That's the beast. That's hell. What about those who are saved? What about those who are going to heaven? In Revelation 14, it says 144,000. That means an endless number of saved. But look at the number, 144. 1 plus 4 equals 5 plus 4 equals what? 9. 9 means consciousness. The beast is the lower consciousness. Those who are saved are the higher consciousness, the upper room, the mountain experience, meditation. When you lift yourself up above, you come into being that 144 or consciousness in the higher realm. So 9 then means consciousness, and it shows either on the lower level, which is the devil or hell or the carnal mind, on the higher level, which is the divine mind. There's an interesting way you can see how the Bible specifically shoves this in, so you know it's a tip-off from the ancient people that this is talking about consciousness. Jesus says to the fellows in the boat, look, if you want to catch fish, cast your net over to the right side of the boat, okay? What Jesus is talking about is not fish. Fish means wisdom. He's not talking about the right side of the boat. He's talking about directing your energy to the right hemisphere of the mind. You do that by turning off the left side in meditation. Now, how do we know? Now that we know that the number 9 means consciousness, how do we know that Jesus is talking about consciousness and not fish? You'll see there in that scripture when Jesus says, cast your net to the right side, you'll see how many fish they caught. They caught 153 fish. Okay? 1 plus 5 plus 3 equals 9. 9 means consciousness. Therefore, Jesus is definitely saying, if you want to be filled with God's wisdom, if you want to be filled with God's understanding, if you want to be filled with God's knowledge of this universe and your place in it, then direct your energies to the right hemisphere. And Jesus told you how to do that by taking no thought. You must meditate. You must allow your eye to be single. You focus that energy right between your eyes and your forehead, and you focus energy there, and you bring yourself above all of those thoughts which are trying to destroy you. You bring yourself up into the bliss of the heaven which is within you, and then you fill with wisdom, you fill with understanding, and you start to activate the right hemisphere of your brain which has been dormant all of your life. Look, you see the same thing in the sky. You see the same thing in nature. The sun right now, as we're sitting talking, the sun in the northern hemisphere is sitting at the right hand. It is sitting in the eastern sky. And what happens when it sits in the eastern, or it sits in the right hand? It brings to life all that was dormant during the winter. It's symbolic too. Paul says the unseen things of God should be made manifest by the things that you can see. In other words, when the sun in the heavens sits at the right hand of power in the eastern sky in the northern hemisphere, summer comes. Everything which was dormant during the winter is gone. Now there are flowers, now there is color, now there is new life. This is what it means. When the Son of Man, the desires of the flesh, the solar plexus is raised to the pineal, the light is at its highest, the power sits at the right hemisphere of the brain, okay? And that then brings to life all that was been dormant in your life during the winter of your soul. Doesn't it make sense? This is what it's about. This is what the hidden meanings of the Bible are about. Everything that is out is in. It is all within you and at your hands to activate it and call it into active participation in your life. Now, and it's never too late. If you're 8 or if you're 98, it doesn't make any difference, because once you raise your consciousness above the thoughts of the mind, there is no age. Lucifer was never a person, was never intended to be a person, was never anybody by the name Lucifer. Lucifer means bright star. Okay? And the reason the name is given Lucifer, the star, and the reason the star, because it has 5 points. Sight, taste, touch, smell, hearing. Bright star. That means when your senses, your ego, are under control of the higher realm of God, then Lucifer. That means everything is under God's control. Fine. But when that star falls, remember Jesus said, I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning, the falling star, that means the 5 senses are now under the control of the ego. Sight, taste, touch, smell, and hearing are under your control. And then we got the problems with sex. We got the problems with drugs. We got the problems with booze. We got the problems with our mouth. We got the problems with gossip. We got the problems with the things we see. We got all the problems with the things that we do. We are now in hell. Satan has arrived. That's what it means. Now, once this star fell, and once the five senses come under the control of the ego, okay, and this is what it means, how then are the five senses returned back up into the higher realm? There must be the sacrifice of the five senses. You've got to give the five senses up. You do that by taking no thought. But let me show you how the Bible describes it. Jesus comes along, and what happens? He takes the five wounds, doesn't he? His hands, 2, his feet, 2, and his side, bang, 5 wounds. And as soon as he takes that 5th wound, he becomes the Christ. He then ascends spiritually, and the five senses are returned to God.